Welcome to the GTI Tours podcast. Join us as we go behind the scenes and discuss with trip leaders, guides, biblical scholars, and more to bring the land and the lessons of the Bible to life. Hello and welcome to the GTI Tours podcast. My name is Rich and I'm going to be your host today as we dive into the land and the lessons of the Bible. Doing what we do often, getting a chance to talk about the amazing places we go and the things that you can learn there and how it brings the Bible alive. And so today's podcast is going to be, well, it's really cool because just the other day I was following social media and I see a little statement put up there from one of our guides who says, hey, this is my 30th year guiding. And I don't think people fully understand how incredible that is. And we're very blessed at GTI to be able to work with guides who have a ton of experience. They've been in the industry for a very long time. They're very well respected, and they are a part of our team. Anybody who's ever been on a trip knows that a good guide makes or breaks a tour. And maybe you've been on a trip before, hopefully not with our company, but with somebody else where you're like, that guide was not that great. But with GTI, we really try to find people. And then when we find them, we work with them for years. They're like part of the family. They've been with us for a long time. And this is the same in all of the countries we work in. So whether it be in Egypt or Israel or Jordan or Greece or Germany or wherever it might be, that's the way it is. But today we're going to be talking about a different country. We're going to talk about Turkey because my good friend, Ozan, is one of our amazing guides. Maybe you've been with him. He has just hit 30 years in the industry. So Ozan, welcome to the podcast.
It's so nice to be here, and I'm shaking a bit.
Are you coming to us live from Kuşadası or from Izmir? Where are you right now?
I'm in Kuşadası at the moment, so I had a cruise tour today. My family is in Izmir at the moment. I'm alone at home.
Perfect. The best time to do a podcast. And Ozan's been with us for years. I can remember the first time that I ever met Ozan. It was actually the second time I'd ever been to Turkey. And I was with a group of pastors. We were coming over to check things out. And Ozan was our guide. And we've been friends ever since. Like we've been buddies, and you and I have traveled together many a times. Whether you like it or not, you've been stuck with me ever since then.
I like it.
You like
I
it? That's
like it.
good. Do you remember the time, we've referenced this before, where you and I in a small little car drove across maybe half of Turkey? We cruised.
It was not exactly half of it, but it was at least 30% of it that we have driven with you. And with
Well, you know,
Vedat also.
I like to believe that it was more. We drove it all in like 4 days, and it was an amazing time. We were out scouting. We were looking for new places, and it was actually Ozan had already scouted, and he was going there to show me what he had found, and we had a really great time doing that. So, well, what I want to do, Ozan, is I want to, because you've been a part of the GTI family for so many years, and this will be this is the same for all of our guides. Like we can do this with all of our guides, but since you've hit this monumental 30 years in the industry, what I would like to do is I'd like to ask you just some questions about being a tour guide, and you can answer as freely as you'd like. You can say what you want, but we'll give people an insight into what it's like to be a tour guide in general, but even more so maybe a tour guide with GTI. So are you up for it?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. First question, if you're ready, is what inspired you to become a tour guide? What brought you into this part of the industry?
It's my father, actually. I was having my education when I started the tourism vocational school when I was 16. I had intensive English and I started to work in the restaurants and the hotels. I loved it because I think I was good at English for me at that time. My father told me, "You are so social. Why don't you try to be a tour guide? I have seen guides talking about the country. You can do that. You like history. You like to talk with the people." I said, "Why not? Let's give it a shot." And then I had the university education, I have chosen to be a tour guide, and since then I love it. So
So
my father.
your dad was a big piece of that. That's a really cool part of the story. I guess one of the questions I would have, and maybe like I haven't been around this long of 30 years, but was tour guiding 30 years ago like even a profession that a lot of people were doing, or was it kind of still in its infancy as far as groups and everything coming to Turkey?
In Turkey, yes. In Greece and in Israel, yes, also. Because those countries, they make their money with the tourism and they need good tour guides, and these tour guides should be trained well, educated well, and they have to be keeping reading the things, the reports, whatever they are. And yes, we need a license to work as a tour guide in Turkey. And I had 2 years of education, and I had to prove that I can speak at least one language well. And then I had to join to the study tours of the Ministry of Tourism at that time. If I can pass the tests, I could be a tour guide. So there are kind of steps that we have to pass.
So Turkey, along with many of the other countries out in the Mediterranean area in that region, it sounds like they took tourism very seriously to the point where it's like, hey, in order to be a tour guide, you've got to know your stuff. And
Definitely.
and
Definitely.
and that's maybe something we'll get into a little bit more. The reason for that is because Turkey has a lot of stuff. It's got a lot to show off. So therefore you have to actually know a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll give you this question because I kind of led to it right there. What makes Turkey a great place to guide in?
I think diversity in the country is diverse in many ways. For example, you look at my face and you would say, "Oh, he looks like European, but I'm speaking an Asian language." So Turkish people are from Central Asia. They came here, but when they came here, that was Byzantine Empire. Before that, that was Roman Empire. Before that, that was Alexander the Great, and so on, so on. The first people that we know in this country are Hittites. They created an empire. So we have a huge history. And then we have great food in the country, and the landscape is amazing. Cappadocia, Pamukkale, the Cotton Castle, where we have the travertines. It's just next to the city of Laodicea, or you say Laodicea. Seven churches of the Book of Revelation. The birthplace of Paul, Tarsus, is in Turkey also. I mean, it's fascinating country.
I agree. I think Turkey is the best kept secret. Like whenever I talk with people, and you've heard this on the podcast many times if you guys follow the podcast, is that I talk to people and they say, "Why Turkey?" And I go, "Well, Turkey is like 90% of the New Testament. They've heard of Greece, but they have not understood that Turkey is Asia Minor. It is the place where a big chunk of the New Testament takes place, either happens in the locations or it's being written to people in the locations or it's being written from. Very, very instrumental spot. People are always amazed when we go. They think Turkey's the Middle East, but the Turkey's not the Middle East at all. It's not at all like the Middle East. It's always one of those fun places, right, Ozan, that we were able to get people to. So here's a question then. How has the role of tour guide changed over the last 30 years?
That's an interesting question because as it has been 30 years, I remember now. I was looking at those pictures that I was sharing, that I remembered my first tour with a Japanese couple. We were with a van. A van didn't have air condition inside of
Wow.
it and no microphone. Why I say that? Because driver is on my left side, I'm right here, and there's a couple just behind of us, but in the middle of me and the driver, there is the engine. And that engine is loud. So I'm yelling, literally, I'm yelling to explain things, or we are talking with them. So it was that normal for me at that moment 30 years ago. But now I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't do the tour with that kind of a van anymore.
Yeah, it has come a long way. I mean, even in the last several years, it's like we've, of course, have full air conditioned vehicles, folks. You don't need to worry about that. But Wi-Fi, on the
Yeah,
buses, and yeah, a lot's changed. Like 30 years. Like what about even just restaurants and the infrastructure for tourism? Have you seen that change?
definitely, it's changing. It gets better and better, and there are new investments. Of course, people would like to make money, and they have different styles. So new restaurants are opening, but if the restaurants are good, we would like to keep them, and we would like to continue with them because they have something special inside of them. As you know that very well, because you're changing the name of the restaurants all the time.
It's true. The restaurants in Turkey are some of my favorite places for us to eat, but because I can't speak Turkish, I have to come up with names for the restaurants so that the guides know which one I mean. So I'll say things like the Parrot Restaurant or the Waterfall Restaurant or the Frog Restaurant. It doesn't mean you're actually eating frogs, but there is a statue of a frog outside. So these are the ways we communicate. But the restaurants are amazing, and people always come away from Turkey going, "Wow, the food!" And I agree. I always enjoy my time there.
It wasn't really ever on my bucket list. I actually saw the ad on Facebook to come to Turkey, and immediately signed up.
You read all this stuff in the Bible, but until you're actually there and you can see the land and you can see the cities and feel the way the wind blows and the flowers bloom and everything, it comes to life for you.
Right now we're here in Turkey, and Turkey is home of majority of the New Testament.
We've walked on streets that undoubtedly the Apostle Paul has walked on.
Walking down the marble street just like he was, and just imagine what he was going through.
On the first missionary journey, he and Barnabas came to this place. We were actually able to read the sermon that he preached in the synagogue where he preached it.
It's been interesting for me going just a little bit past the Bible into the formation of the early church and how the Christians lived together. For me, that's been very fascinating to kind of dive into that world, and Turkey's great for that. Such an ancient part of our Christian story.
At GTI, our passion is to bring the land and the lessons of the Bible to life. And what we try to do on the signature tour is not only just focus on the Bible and what the New Testament has to offer here in Turkey, but we try to bring the cultural aspect alive as well.
It's amazing to get to experience the way the people live here now.
The people are so gracious and loving and such servants.
To see the way they live, to see their customs, to go to a mosque, to see how distinct it is and how beautiful it is really a treasure for us.
The rug making that we came to today it's been just probably one of my favorite cultural experiences here in Turkey. I will never look at a rug the same way.
To be stationary up in the air or near stationary and just to be able to look around and see things, it's an amazing perspective. This looks a lot like it did 2,000 years ago.
It's just a gift. To walk in the footsteps of Paul and to see things as Paul did 2,000 years ago is almost a paradigm shift in your walk of faith.
What are other ways that technology has maybe changed for the good or the bad touring or being a tour guide?
I think people, especially the younger generation, even today, when I was in the harbor of Kuşadası, I was talking with the younger colleagues of mine, and they were saying there will be VR goggles are coming up, there will be robots, there will be the programs are going to be replacing us. I said AI is one of the scary things about the people, but I think anything of that they don't have emotion inside of it. We would like to get happy and we would like to show that happiness most of the time, or we would like to be sad sometimes, and sometimes we share the sad stories with the people. I think these machines or the programs or the apps, whatever they are, AI cannot do that at the moment. So we cannot have that emotion or the friendship that we are creating with you at the moment. And you know what I'm going to be doing, I know what you're going to be thinking. So we are on the same page generally. So I think we may lose that. So I think tour guiding is not going to be changing that much, but we will use it.
Yeah, I agree. Having a tour guide who can read a group and understand a group and know what they're looking for and tell stories and connect you, because it's not just giving information, it's connecting you to the country you're in. You become the representative of that country, and people will leave knowing that country better because they know you. And so I think that that's something you can't replace out of a good tour guide ever. And you are really good at dancing. The dancing Ozan has been seen many a times joyfully on trips where he is dancing and singing "Hit the Road Jack."
No, No, you have seen it, not the others.
But the beauty of technology, speaking of technology, is I will have inserted right now as we are talking. I will have inserted the dancing Ozan into this video podcast.
Oh my God.
It's going to be great. So can you share? I want to get down into the memory zone because I think that that's the best part about just guiding and guides. Can you share a standout moment from a tour? Something that really meant something to you.
I was thinking about that question. Every day when I'm on a tour, thing happens. Something outstanding is happening. For example, today. I was not planning to talk about this, but today I just remembered that as you asked, I met with the family, and the family, two daughters, husband and wife. We are in a minivan, and there are only 5 seats behind driver and me. It's a Mercedes Vito. And then we get into the car. I said, "Welcome." Generally, I would like to join to them behind, but we didn't have enough space over there. So I decided to sit to the front. But then, as we started to drive in the 5th second, most probably, the husband had asked, "Tell us everything about Kuşadası or Ephesus or Turkey, whatever." He asked like that. Then I said to the driver, he stopped just 5 or 6 seconds later. I said, "May I join you? I'm going to be squeezing in if that's all right with you because I have to see their faces."
Mm-hmm.
So that was an outstanding moment, I think. The person interested in any kind of information. I was ready to give that also. So I jumped up to the behind. I squeezed them maybe, but we talked almost like 20, 25 minutes till we drive to Ephesus. They loved it, I loved it, and we had a joyful day.
Well, I hope that it happens that you found that it happens with our groups. Whenever I'm on a trip, I know that you're always like, "Oh no, why is Rich on this trip?" I was on a trip just recently and you're like, "Rich, why are you here?" Because we're good friends, I'm always bringing things up, and so is guys like Craig or whoever it might be. Of like, "Ozan, what's the mascot of this town?" Like we're always asking questions that are so crazy, just to make you have to answer them, and that's half the fun of being on a tour with you. Come on, that's standout. That's a standout thing, right?
I am not complaining about when you're on tour. I'm pleased because you come with me and we're spending some time with you. Not only on the tour, but right after the dinner time, we're spending some time with you, talking in private, talking about the families. So we are being a family. So I think that's very precious for me.
Well, you do a good job of. I watch you all the time, and you do a great job of not making anyone feel like it's a dumb question. You really find a way to answer it, and even though I know there are times where you think things are ridiculous, what are some of the biggest challenges you've encountered as a tour guide? Like what can be difficult? Like what's something that you're like, "Yeah, that was tough. That was hard to figure out or to fix or whatever it might be."
Anyway, the lady was right in front of me, and her leg, I mean, she had a fracture right in front of me. I heard the snap, the sound. It was terrible. And the problem was the ambulance. It has taken almost like an hour. We had doctors over there, we had nurses over there. They came, they helped us, they tried to stabilize everything, but I cannot forget that time. It's just in front of me, even not 1 meter, just 2 feet maybe, right in front of me. It had happened. I remember still the sound. I cannot forget that. Health problems, those are the ones that I remember all the time.
Difficult situations happen constantly, and one of the reasons I wanted to ask this question is so that you all out there could hear is that this is the other thing that makes guides so good and so valuable is that things will happen, whether it's medication that's been lost that has to be found, whether it is something to where like someone needs to get back to the States because a loved one passed away, or somebody gets sick and they need to get to a pharmacy and get medicine, or somebody gets hurt, or people have food allergies, whatever it is. These guys are constantly problem solving, and I always love asking this question because they can never think of a good answer for them because it's just what they do all the time, and so it's part of their job, and so it's kind of like, yeah, we don't have a problem with difficult situations. We just handle situations as they come up. So I really respect that about you, Ozan. You take care of things so well, and so do the rest of our guide teams. It's a privilege
Thank
to
you.
work with you with those things. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but you've been a part of the guide guild or the guide. What do you guys call it? The Department of Guides, guide.
It is the guild. Yeah,
The
let's
guild,
put it
yeah.
that way, or chamber.
Chamber of the Guides, and you've been very helpful with that. You've been a part of that, one of the main guys with it for a long time, because you believe in making things better and you believe in bringing up the next generation. I've been on multiple trips where you've invited new guides to come and just watch like the group and get to know a group and see how you handle the group. What advice do you give to people who are looking to start a career in guiding?
They have to be patient. Patience is the key. There are dumb questions, as we were talking about. We have to keep reading. It can be new book, it can be the results of the excavations annually, or anything you're interested in. Or sometimes I'm not capable of answering all the questions sometimes. So if I don't know, I can say, and I have to say that I don't know. But I'll look for it and I'll give you the answer next day, or maybe the other day. I'll find it for you. And your question is quite interesting. Sometimes those questions are leading us to the different paths, and it changes everything or some things. So patience is important, reading is important, learning is important, and trying to have more experience and sharing each other as tour guides. That was one of my mottos also when I was acting as a chairman. I was trying to train as much as younger tour guides as we can, and we were trying to welcome them.
Yeah. Again, this is the part that makes, as you're seeing it, guides who've been around a long time are always learning and they're always reading. And that's what I love about it is I'll show up a couple times a year to Turkey, and one of the first questions I'll ask Ozan or Gulkan or any of our guides over there, or guides in any country, is what's new? What have you learned recently? What are the things that have been uncovered since I was here last, or that has been found? And these guys, it's their job. Their job is to continue to stay up on information. So that's what makes a good guide, is somebody who's a continued learner, who's learning and asking questions and learning themselves. And you guys do that really good. It's a partnership. I love working with you guys because of that. How do you find the future of tour guiding kind of evolving? And I guess it's a kind of a more of a dual question, like what trends are you noticing in travel and tourism?
I think people would like to experience things. People would like to, uh, I think, walk on a Roman road, for
Mm-hmm.
example. When you're walking on a Roman road, you would like to feel what those people were feeling, or simply they would like to join to a cooking class to cook how the Turkish people are cooking the Mediterranean food, how we do it. So the numbers of the cooking classes are increasing. That's an experience on the tourism also. So for harvesting an olive tree, picking up olives one by one, and then seeing them pressed with the machines or with the stones with the old style, and seeing how olive oil has been done, or pistachios, or making baklava by yourself. So I think people would like to involve on the things more inside of it. I think we will be seeing that a lot in the future. We will be seeing people are going to be living like a Turk, or if I go to Greece, living like a Greek. How they do that?
Yeah, experiential is a big part of tourism these days. We've incorporated that into our study tours. If you've been on one recently, you would notice, like even going to Turkey, I'll use Turkey as the example. We are experiencing different cuisines and food where we are choosing where we eat specifically so that people can experience that. One of the places we go is a family owned place where they make it the food like right there. It's right there in front of you. You can see it, and you're getting a chance to do that. And then you're getting a chance, if you want to get the recipe book, take it home with you. We're doing that in the form of getting people on a boat. We'll go out onto the harbor of Kushadasi and give you the experience of being out on the ocean, Mediterranean and or the Aegean, depending on where we're at. We want to get you in the water. We want to get you in those places so you can experience what it would have been like for Paul to sail in or sail out of those spots, or to be on a hot air balloon and be up in the air looking down at the ancient city of Hierapolis. So we're doing exactly that. We're embracing the experiential learning that you're talking about, because even with study tours, the more you can touch it, feel it, smell it, taste it, it brings the Bible alive.
Definitely.
Okay, so we're gonna take this to personal reflection here, because these are the questions I really like to get to and I was excited about. How has being a tour guide impacted your personal life?
It's a hard job. I'm generally away from my family, so that affects me a lot. It puts more weight on my wife's jobs, I think. I have two sons. I try to take care of them also as much as I can because wintertime we are not that busy, so I'm with them generally. Or sometimes if I'm free, I go and I spend some time with them. But at the end, I'm generally away from home. So that's the worst part of being a tour guide. I mean, I like it, but that part is, I'm not complaining about it, but I'd like to stay with my wife and with the kids more. So I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, people don't realize this. This is with all of our guides, is that guiding requires them to be away from home, and they're doing this over and over and over again. So they'll be away from home multiple days at a time, out with a group, taking care of a group, and that's a big sacrifice. And that, again, you know that I understand the sacrifice you're making with that. You and I have had multiple personal talks where you're like, Rich, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I sit with you and go, I understand completely. It is a huge sacrifice to do this, and we are grateful for the sacrifice you guys make, and for with your spouse, with your wife, like making that sacrifice as well, and your kids. And then at the same time, trying to create a scenario with GTI groups coming that we don't do too many in a row to give you some downtime is something that we very much desire to do. And we know anybody who's in the tour industry, it's feast or famine. Like, you're going to work as much as you can because you don't know if there'll be work tomorrow. And that's the hard thing with tourism, is that sometimes there's a lot of it and sometimes there's very little of it. And so you're always trying to work as much as you can while you can. So I'm glad you answered that, because I think for people like they don't understand, they're getting a chance to understand a little bit the sacrifice of being a guide is a little bit tough being away from home. But what keeps you passionate about your work? You've been doing this for 3 decades, 30 years. Like, what keeps you doing it? Because there's been so many times that you could have been done and you could have quit, and especially in the times where tourism had dropped out because of wars or instability or COVID or whatever it might be.
I think I like to talk with the people. I like to talk about my country. I like to guide them in an ancient city. I like to talk about the different styles. I like to talk about marble, the art on the marble, or the culture of the country, or the religions in this country, and how diverse the country is. So I think I like it a lot. But also, maybe I had to say, of course, I work for GTI at the moment, but I started to work with Azim Tour. So Azim Tour allowed me to do those changes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some agencies, even GTI and Azim Tour, they wouldn't like to do those changes also. But both of these companies, they allowed us to work on the new itineraries, allowed it to evolve. So our itinerary is always evolving. We don't set up that itinerary and we always do that and we don't change it. No, we don't say that. We would like to evolve it. We would like to change it, and we try to make everybody not happy, but have the reflection of the Bible in this country. Because I think that's the most important thing. People, they come here to understand Bible better. So we are the tool for that. And we have to make that tool working better and better. So I'm thinking GTI and Azim Tour allowing to do that to us, both of the companies.
Yeah, and this is what makes, I think, a GTI tour different than other tours, is that we are looking to dig into the Bible, and we're working with partners like Azim, which is the Turkish ground operator who works with Ozan, but we're continually asking, how do we make these trips better? Because we're going to learn from the people on the ground who are continually learning, and it makes trips better. I'm proud of how our trips have evolved over the years. Really fun to see all the things we've added, the things we've learned. So Ozan, that brings me to this question. I kind of answered my own question a little bit there, but like, what makes a GTI tour different from the other tours you do? Because you choose to work with us. You don't have to. You've been with us a long time, but what makes our tours different?
First of all, I feel like a family here. I mean, not GTI only, Azim Tour is a family for us too. Unver, the owner, Vedat, the manager, operations manager, they are great people. I mean, we always chat with them and we try to improve the itineraries that we have. And this is not kind of an agency that I work with. I mean, I feel like family that I'm working for. Unver is like a father to me. Vedat is kind of an elder brother to me. We have this chance to talk. You also, all the people that we met 2 years ago when you were doing the family trip, they were very nice people. I feel like I'm in a family. And I say that to the GTI groups also. When they come, the first thing that I say to them, welcome to the family. We will be feeling like the members of a new family or your family. I'll be part of your family. as you're leaving. And we have this hug. We have to hug each other. And at the end of the trip, we hug each other like a family.
It is it's a beautiful thing. Again, I feel that way every time I come. Like that I get to be a part of the family that is there. I always look forward to it. I'm gonna ask you one more question that I think is a great one because people ask me this all the time. And so when we work in countries, we are working with guides. People always just assume they go, your guides are all Christians, right? And I go, no, our guides represent where they're from. And so for you, how is it like, how do you feel working with a Christian company when you have a Muslim background? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because people always ask, like, is that a problem? And I sit there and I go, no, I think it makes our trips better. But how do you feel about it?
I'm trying to be a good Muslim. And this country, before Republic of Turkey was formed, from 1200s till to the 1900s, almost like 700 years, we had Ottoman Empire, and Ottoman Empire has welcomed all religions. They didn't say no. I have been grown up with that history and respect. I try to learn Christianity because it is that we accept it as a religion before Muslim religion, and we accept Jesus Christ as the prophet. So it's welcoming me, welcomes me. So that's why I like it. I like to learn about the Bible. I like to learn about the Muslim religion. I see some reflections of the both of the religions together. So it's not a problem for me, and I feel good about that.
It's what I
So.
think makes our trip so special is that we are there. I'm learning from someone like Ozan all the time. There's a mutual respect across the board. And you know very much that we're there to see, first century biblical sites because we're teaching the Bible and you help us as we learn. And that's because you've been learning. Again, folks, like there's so much stuff out there these days of anti against each otherness. And I see it all the time with my friends like Ozan and all the rest of the different people we work with is this amazing partnership as we do biblical study tours and we get to come to a land such as Turkey with an experienced guide such as Ozan who's been doing it for a long time. And he helps us understand the Bible in the land and all of these things by walking us through his country. And it's an amazing thing. I'm so just grateful for you, Ozan. I'm grateful for our friendship and all of these things and that you take me to eat good cheesecake and it's good times.
Yeah, also künefe too.
Yeah, it's good. And do you remember, I'll just leave this as our last thought here is I still remember the time and people don't know that these kind of things happened where you and Golkan came to Israel and we toured Israel together with a group and you got a chance to do that. And then we brought Ronan, some of our Israelis, over to spend time in Turkey and they came on your tour. So we share information constantly on how to be better guides. And that's a really cool relationship.
That was a very good idea that you created over there. And meeting with the pastors over there and doing the tour, how you run the tours in Israel was good. Meeting with Ronan was good. But what I remember is our driver, Mayor, has taken us to this Turkish pilot's cemetery. He has driven the bus over there.
Yeah.
I cannot forget that. I mean, he did such a nice thing. It was kind of the evening time. It was sunset time. Uh, I cannot forget that. I mean, that was something.
Yeah, he went out of his way. He drove his bus down a dirt road to get him to a memorial of some Turkish pilots who were killed years ago. And
Yeah.
these are just the cool stories. Like they happen all the time. Whenever I watch the media, I get so sad because they never tell the good stuff. And there's a lot of good stuff out there. Well, Ozan, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on here to do a little video podcast, a little podcast time, talking about your 30 years in the industry. So congratulations on that. And I hope you continue to guide for us for years to come.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank your team also for all the efforts that you try to promote Turkey. And we try to help you also. And I'd like to thanks to Azimtur, also Ünver, Vedat, Ten, Dilek, and my colleagues Gökhan, Doğan, Hakan, and the others that is going to be working for the future, most probably with the GTI, because we would like to see the numbers are increasing, and we are seeing that it's in at the moment. So hopefully everything is going to be well. Thank you.
Yep. Well, friends, thanks for joining this podcast. And until the next podcast, take care. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. For more information on upcoming GTI study tours, please find us on the web at www.gtitours.org.